Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forts Comic News, episode 279. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host here, Mike. What's up, Mike?
We're going to call this the mustache episode. See how it goes.
Oh, yeah, you're all stashed up. Okay, your Burt Reynolds going.
Yeah, it was funny because I shaved my beard into a mustache, and I was like, I'm going to try this out for the day. And then I went out, and I realized that there was a lot of dudes that just looked just like me with this mustache. And then I was like, why is it such a trend? And I'm like, oh yeah, the Top Gun movie with Miles Teller and his mustache.
I got to get you that shirt that Hopper wore in season 3.
Oh hell yeah, the full, like the Tommy Bahama one.
Yeah, Tommy Bahama. Just go all out, Might as well just dig right into it.
Yep. We do have an interview today, everybody. It's not just my mustache. Randy Stone will be on to talk about his book Bullet and some other stuff. So, looking forward to that. Speaking of Stranger Things, Chris has finished it, finally.
Yes.
What do you think after you finish season 4?
Right, I love the series.
Yeah.
It's good. It hits... The horror isn't like... The horror is exactly the type of horror I enjoy. Mm-hmm. Like season 4, the last season, it's very Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Which is like one of those series that I really like. Like I like the the popular stuff, the Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it hit all the right elements there, but it does really well of like pulling your heartstrings throughout it. Like even spoiler alert for to me, it's the movie. It's not really the last episode. But yeah. Spoiler alert for the movie. Like when Hopper comes back and like just that line that Eleven gives, like I kept the door open 3 inches, like just hit me right here, like right in the heart,
man. Damn. Yeah.
And then when he comes to Mike and he like gives him a hug and he goes, you've gotten taller, and he goes, well, you've gotten thinner or something like that.
Yeah.
Or no, you grew and you shrunk. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, it just... The writing's so good. The special effects are spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And the story's great. Like, I know this next season's supposed to be the last one.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope it is, because I feel like we've reached a climax. We need to kind of wrap up the thing. But it's almost sad at the same time, because it's so good that...
Right.
You don't want it to end.
I agree. I wanted to ask you, did you notice with Vecna when they kill him in quotations? Did you notice the Michael Myers?
Yeah, he disappeared.
Yeah, literally rolls off the roof like in Halloween, and then they pan down and he's gone.
Yeah, and that's another, like, I like the original Halloween movies, the first 2, especially. And it hit on a lot of that too. Like it's so good.
I just don't know where they go. Like, how do they fix things? Like the fucking town is a gaping hole where it used to be. Like, what do you do now? And I can't imagine they save anything without time travel. Like I'm like still banking on time travel's coming the next season.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that need to be like there are a lot of quote unquote plot holes throughout it, things that need to be explained,
right?
But I have faith that they'll do it in a nice way. And if you're not watching the show, it's one of the best things, if not the best thing on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm saying anything new or controversial here. Just
what? Yeah. No, he's crazy.
I'm glad I finally jumped. Like, I had jumped in before. So after my watch through, I realized my original watch through, I got through like half, maybe less than of season 3 before I had to drop.
Yep.
But going back, watching it all the way through in one sitting, one sitting, quote unquote, was really nice and just well done altogether.
Yeah, and it's just good. And did you like ever put 2 and 2 together that number 1 was going to be the was going to be Vecna.
Yeah, I think they held that really well to like when he's given the speech.
Yeah.
When she's like back in the past doing like trying to get her powers back.
Mm-hmm.
I sat there, I'm just like, oh, he's Vecna. And then literally like 15, 20 minutes later, it shows her like throwing him into the upside down and him becoming Vecna. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, but it was done so well that you didn't get it until that moment, and then it still hit when you see the conclusion of that. Like, it wasn't one of those things where they kept it going for a whole season. Like, is he or isn't he? And then, like, by the time you did, you're like, of course, yeah. Like, it was done really quickly and everything.
Yeah, so can't wait for the next season. Speaking of Netflix, they, Neil Gaiman had, like, cryptically tweeted out, oh, it'd be awesome if we had one more episode of Sandman. And then Netflix did this crazy thing where they released 10 episodes, and they released the 11th episode. A lot of people are saying it's a crazy marketing strategy. Hats off to the marketing people at Netflix, because what I think happened was the episode wasn't finished. Especially because half of it is like CGI, which is fine. Like, it's an animated short part of it, but like they definitely didn't finish it. And they're like, okay, well, we'll just add this as a bonus episode and make people think we were holding on to it. But it's a couple of the stories from the comics. So this is like where I stopped reading the comics. Okay. The cat story was interesting. I kind of wish it wasn't animated, but the CGI budget would have been ridiculous for that. And did you watch it yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, first, my thoughts on the drop of it. I think it's good that they did it this way because the show ended in a very good way. Like,
yes,
for the first season. Hopefully, this isn't the end of the show.
Right.
But
I agree.
It ended perfectly. So to do this as kind of a separate thing was nice because it doesn't take away from the ending that season 1 was. As far as the first episode, I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad they blacked out the guy's, like the human's face in the cat episode. Yeah. Because I want to just stab the dude who drowned the kittens.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah. I have in my eyes, one of the worst things a human can do is harm an animal, especially a defenseless animal. Mm-hmm. And I mean, well, let me say it this way. To purposely torture a defenseless animal is bad. Yeah. Like, I don't have an issue with hunting or anything, but like kittens in a bag and you drown them, like, yeah, that's one of the few times where I'm like, give them the fucking chair.
Yeah, burn them. The episode was good. And my cat like immediately woke up and was watching the episode after hearing all the meows and stuff. So I've seen a lot of people posting pictures about that on Twitter and stuff. Like, their cats are sitting and watching the episode too.
Yeah, Greedo was in my lap and he perked up every time they meowed. Yeah.
So that was a good little short. And then the second part of the episode was interesting about a writer like trapping a goddess who used to be the wife of Morpheus. And they had a child together. We find that out. Yeah, I think it was solid storytelling, great episodes, and a cool way to, get everybody excited, because like they really didn't advertise this at all. Like, when I texted you, I texted some other people about it. They're like, oh, really? There was another episode out? I go, yeah, apparently. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah, and even like when I turned on my Netflix that day, it was in my continue to watch, which normally when you finish a season, it drops out of that.
Right.
But I don't think it even had the new episode marker on it. So I was really confused. And then you would text me. I was like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah, it doesn't have the marker. You got to like go in and find it.
It's weird. Like, you think they would push it more, but it's worth watching. I was surprised that Morpheus showed up. I thought it was literally going to be like 2 side stories in universe, but outside of the main story. Mm-hmm. And the first one was that, although I'm sure that's going to tie back into what's going on.
It did have his voice though. His voice was the wolf or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then he actually shows up in the Muse episode. So it's good. I don't know. I'll just say it's good. It didn't reach the highs of the season, but
right. Yeah.
I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. And you watched She-Hulk episode 1. I haven't watched it. I haven't decided on if I'm going to watch it or not, but you can break it down for us.
So I'll break down the story real quick, then I'll talk about my feelings. So basically, we start with her after she has her powers as a lawyer. Mm-hmm. We don't really know that she has her powers at this point. And then she, like, there's an interaction in her law firm. Then she breaks the fourth wall, which I'll get to later.
Oh boy.
And says, like, I bet you want to know about, how I became the She-Hulk or whatever, blah, blah.
And Chris is like, no, I don't. No. Please.
And then so it cuts to, like, how she became She-Hulk, which was, like, she was traveling with Bruce. Then Bruce explains why he's Bruce again and not Hulk.
He, like, sneezed on her or something.
And they get into a car accident because a random alien ship shows up that they never explain again, by the way. That causes them to go into an accident. And then she cuts her arm. Bruce bleeds into her wound. And that gives her the powers.
Interesting.
Similar to how She-Hulk was actually, like, came about, but different at the same time. I thought it was a good way to kind of show the same origin while condensing it to, like, all right, blood got in blood, blah, blah. She's got She-Hulk. She hulks out a few times. They go to this place in Mexico where she trains, and Bruce tries to talk to her and everything. And they have, like, a Hulk on Hulk fight. And then she goes back to the real world, tries to be a lawyer. And when Titania shows up. And that's kind of the end of the episode. It's like a half an hour quick episode. I thought it was good. It's not, like, my favorite thing in the world. I'll keep watching it because it's Marvel, and I'm addicted at this point. But outside of a few, like, issues I have with the episode, some of the dialogue's wonky. Mm-hmm. Some of the dialogue even contradicts itself. And I know all the She-Hulk fans are going to come at me like, she does it in the comics, but the fourth wall breaking, I just hate.
That's why you're not a fan of Deadpool, that's for sure.
Yeah, and at least she does it in a way that's, like, narrative. So, like, she acts as the narrator to her own story, and that's why she breaks the fourth wall. So it's like, I can stomach it that way, but I still don't like it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's good. The action's good. The CGI isn't as egregious as the trailers were.
That's what I was going to ask about her face.
There's still, like, a noticeable difference between how much time and effort they put into Hulk and how little time and effort they put into She-Hulk.
It's like the intern working on She-Hulk.
Dude, it's like Hulk is so... And I don't know, maybe this is budget-wise. Like, you already had the Hulk models from the movies, so you can just kind of copy-paste. I'm sure it's more complicated than that, but like, Hulk is so... Every little detail, his skin and everything is, like, so perfect in how they did it. And then hers is just... When it's in motion, it works, but it's still, like... I don't know, there's something missing. Yeah, there's something missing, definitely.
The uncanny valley. I just see, like, the Marvel Studios, like, subreddit, shitting on things here, like, continuity wise, and I haven't seen the episode. Whether it's bad or not is kind of irrelevant for this thing I saw. But is there a scene where, like, the Hulk gets, like, hit by a Jeep and, like, knocked into something?
So she's trying to leave, and she gets in the Jeep, and he, like, is standing in front of the Jeep, like he's about to stop it. Yeah, they have a conversation. She, like, slams on the pedal, and like, takes him for a ride for a minute, and then stops, and he falls off.
Yeah, I think that was the scene I saw, and then they compared it to... Was it the first Avengers where he stomps on the giant ship, and, like, the whole ship stops and, like, flips over him, compared to, like, him getting, like, hit with a Jeep and it doesn't stop or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay.
I'll say this. Context is king here. Like,
yeah.
So this is from the first Avengers movie you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's the rage monster Hulk at that point. So he's just Hulk smash.
Right.
This is Smart Hulk, and it's his cousin. And they were having like a very heated conversation, and she caught him off guard. So I could see why he wouldn't exactly want to flip it over and smash his Jeep, but B, his cousin.
Yeah. So it's a little more a power levels thing, because we're seeing a Bruce Banner Hulk now, right? The what do you call him?
Well, he's still this Smart Hulk. He's still the same Hulk strength, but like,
right? But
there's more. He has control.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
So I don't. If it was Hulk from Incredible Hulk or the first Avengers movie, he would have flipped that thing over and probably killed her. But I think there was some holding back. Plus, like, you're having a heated conversation with your cousin, and then like she just does something and catches you off guard. Like, it's gonna.
I figured it was taken out of context and people just being, shitty as usual.
It's people being too literal and not taking context and questioning.
Comic books people. One more thing about TV, in case anyone cares, the House of the Dragon, or the House of the D, which I think is a better title. House of the D will start tonight on HBO, so I'll be watching that. I'm more excited for Rings of Power, but I will be watching both. So I'll be talking about that when I come back.
I think I will avoid both unless I'm told they're like the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Maybe I'll just tell you that then. I watched a movie over the weekend. I watched Prey. As an Eat, Pray, Love. No, I'm just kidding. This is this is way better. This is the Predator movie that takes place in like 1792 or something like that, with this Native American tribe. First off, like, you like watch the first few scenes and like the wide angle shots and like the cinematography, like they don't even show any like humans or monsters. But when you're looking at the movie, I'm sitting there, I was like, this movie does not have any business being shot this well. I'm about to watch a fucking Predator movie right now, and I'm like, you're getting like these wide shots like you're watching Interstellar or something. I'm like, what is happening? So right off the bat, I was like, already okay. Let's see where this goes. The actors, all the characters are amazing, especially the lead actress. And from what I heard, some of the Native American actors they found like working at stores around the area, which is pretty crazy. Like I think the lead, the co-lead with the girl, her brother, he was working at like a TJ Maxx or something, and this is his first debut, and he fucking kills it. So I'm like, wow. Okay. Now, Predator wise, I mean, this movie's awesome because it does two things. It gets people who have never seen a Predator movie asking questions about Predator and like getting hyped up. The fight scenes are so cool. One of them is just like human versus human, and it's done all in one take. So it's pretty awesome. The great part about it, like if you're a fan of the Predator series, like I love the first Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I have very fond memories watching that. Yes. Several times over. They would just nonstop play that on TNT. They do something really interesting for fans. So like obviously they debut all the like they focus on the cool things about Predator. So the gadgets. We see a lot of gadgets. We see a lot of him or her. I don't really know what the Predator we see the Predator mimicking a lot of the weapons more so of like the 1792 weapons, so we don't see a whole lot of lasers or rockets or anything like that, but we still see the same setup. So like in the trailer you see like the three red dot triangles, you see a lot of other gadgets, and the scenes are set up so you expect to know what the gadget is going to do, and every gadget is different, and I fucking loved it because I was like, I'm sitting there with Katie, like, and she's never seen the Predator movie. I'm like, oh, this gadget's gonna go like pew 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 and all this shit, and it doesn't do that. And I was like, wow, I sound like a dumbass because I thought I knew everything. about the movie, and they completely flip it, which is great because it makes sense. Like, it's been hundreds of years. Why, like, the Predators have to fight people and develop their weapons too over time. So, really cool. I think there's conflict between characters, and I'm not going to spoil too much because they don't show too much in the trailer of like a lot of the conflict that goes on. The Predator is the design of the Predator. I'm sure you've seen that. It's all real. The costume is real. Practical effects. That was amazing. I mean,
it's more of a primitive look too.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it might be my favorite Predator movie, hands down, because and I know like the Arnold Schwarzenegger one has higher like fan score than this one. This one's critic score is like up around 90 something, so well deserved. And I really hope they just go all over the place with this. Go to different planets, different time periods, like go to year 3000 or some shit like that, like the Jonas Brothers did. But
yeah, I think I sent you the tweet that someone put out that was like, put it in feudal Japan with like a lost Ronin.
Yes, and then like cast Keanu Reeves as the lead.
It was some famous Japanese actor that was put. I don't know the scene.
Yeah, I know his name,
but...
and he was in he's the dude from Mortal Kombat that plays Scorpion. But like, they can do so many cool things and do it well. Like this, it was a really nice nod to the Native American people and what they believe in, and how that relates to what's going on with the Predator. Yeah, I think it was great. It's a good story. It's a good character development. And yeah, I hope we get more of that. So check it out. And it's on Hulu. I mean, Hulu's been killing it lately. So yeah. So that's all I watched, and I think we're gonna jump over to this interview with Randy Stone, and we'll see everybody on the other side.
And we're back.
We're on the other side, and we have quite a bit of comic news this week, so that's always fun and exciting for a comic news show to have comic news.
Some good comic news this week, too.
Good shit. We're getting some good. Okay, so after the San Diego Comic-Con announcement about the Batman Spawn crossover, the new entry of that, DC has announced they'll be reprinting the original 2 one-shots in November. It'll be titled Batman Spawn, the Classic Collection. Sure, why the hell would I not pick this up?
Yeah, and it's going to be printed in like the style that their 100-page giants are, so that bound.
Okay.
So yeah, those are good stories. Everybody should check them out, and it's a good primer for the new series, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, and just let's do it. Easy money for DC, right?
Exactly.
DC has revealed a new Black Label title written by Mark Silvestri. The title is called Batman/Joker: The Deadly Duo. It will launch in November. In the series, Harley Quinn is missing, along with Commissioner Gordon, and a new deadly threat is at the heart of the mystery. When Joker approaches Batman about an uneasy alliance, the two team up to save their companions and create a rift in the Bat family.
I don't know.
I'm glad we're on the same page here. So Black Label should not be there just to make more Batman stories. Is my only problem with that. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's DC Comics, aka Batman Comics. So I understand why they lean into the Batman thing. It's their biggest seller by far, and it's not even close. But I think it's cool that Mark Silvestri's coming. I mean, that's a longtime Image guy who did like the Darkness and everything. It's cool to see him roll back into the big two. I don't know. I don't like the idea of Batman and Joker teaming up. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it, and I don't like. I mean, we've talked about how sick I am of the Joker.
The closest to this idea I've enjoyed, and I really enjoy it, to be fair, is what they're doing in Beyond the White Knight.
Right.
where like Joker is basically planted a digital version of himself in Bruce's brain. But that's not even really a team up. That's just more psychological manipulation by Joker.
And it's not like something he agreed to, right? He's like, I'm here, deal with it. So,
and that's the thing too. Like, I don't see Batman being like, yeah, Joker, sure, let's team up and be pals for this one. Like, I don't know. It just
yeah. Golly gee, why not?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's good, but I don't even think I'm going to bother with it.
No, I'm not. This is pretty interesting though. DC announced DC rewinds to the 90s in November. Sure. I will say this, like, I'm seeing styles and trends come back from the 90s. So we're in it now. I mean, it's DC's capitalizing here.
And what's funny here is, as a side note, the same month, November, Marvel's variant cover line, like, they both do a variant cover line for that month, is like returned to the 90s. So all the covers are done like in 90s style by 90s artists.
Wow.
So yeah. Go ahead.
The great thing is we go back to these characters, and you can go back and find these issues if you want to read more about them for 25 cents a piece. Yeah, no issue there.
Yeah.
So the DC Rewinds of the 90s in November will consist of some new revamps of popular 90s characters created by Mr. Jim Lee. First up is Wildcats, written by Matt Rosenberg, art by Steven Segovia. Wildcats will bring back the classic team working in the shadows to take on the Court of Owls. Interesting. Matt Rosenberg,
who did the grifter stories in Batman Urban Legends,
right?
That I didn't really care for personally.
Yeah.
What pulls me in is Court of Owls. Like,
that's pretty cool.
We haven't seen Court of Owls in a while.
Yeah.
Actually, since they were created, basically. I know they're going to be in that new video game, so it's going to be like, we got to do a Court of Owls thing, but
get it popular again.
I almost want to check it out for that. And like the Wildcats, like I always like Grifter. I like the design. I like some of the early DC versions of them. So I might check this one out, but it's still a rough sell.
Yeah, I might check a couple issues out. Also announced is a Black Label title called Waller vs. Wildstorm, written by Evan Narcissi and Spencer Ackerman, with art by Eric Battle. The series is set near the end of the Cold War, shows an ambitious and young Amanda Waller as she tries to implement her ideas on how to use metahumans in the war. Finally, so that might be interesting.
That one I'm down for.
Yeah, that one sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I love Cold War era stuff. Amanda Waller's an interesting character to mine. They haven't done enough of it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And to kind of tie her to her origin to Cold War era and metas, like, that could be really good. That one's actually exciting to me. I'm interested to see how Wildstorm fits into this. I assume they're the metahuman she's trying to like make the original Task Force X. But We'll see.
A celebration, and finally is collection called Wildstorm, a celebration of 25 years, which will feature classic reprints from Jim Lee, Brett Booth, and more, as well as some new material that will tie into the future of the new DC line. Interesting. So they pretty much need to get everybody brushed up on Wildstorm and Wildcats because they're like, we're going to be using them soon, and people don't know who the hell they are. So
yeah, and this for me is kind of the last ditch effort because Jim Lee's the head of DC basically.
Yeah,
and these are Jim Lee's properties. Like DC bought Wildstorm, and that's why Jim Lee's in the position he is at DC. If this doesn't work out, because the last few times he's tried have not worked out, he needs to just stop.
Yeah.
He's tried this whole let's revamp Wildstorm over and over again, and it's like somebody's got to come in and be like, dude, like, we've tried it. It's not working. Like, stop making this a thing. I know it's your baby. I know you created them, but like, we got to move off.
Leave it. It's dead.
So I'll root for it. I think. I mean, one book I'm excited for here. The other one I'm at least going to check out for reasons. The collection I don't really give a crap about, but I hope for the best. I think the stand on that though is the Black Label book. Like that one sounds the coolest to me.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm more excited for this other stuff from DC that's coming up, and it's actually going to get me to go. Like, I know I'm all digital now, and here I like buy like comics here and there, but I'm going to be pre-ordering these number ones because I gotta have them because the covers are all like absolutely amazing. When this dropped, I was so happy. This is the biggest news of the week. DC and Jeff Johns announced that spitting out of the Flashpoint Beyond is the return of the Justice Society of America. Oh, God, yes. With 2 new comics and a one-shot comic. The first one-shot's called The New Golden Age, written by Jeff Johns, with art by Steve Lieber, Jerry Ordway, and Diego Orletegui. The issue will be used as a starting point for the future of the JSA. The next 6-issue series... the next is a 6-issue series titled Stargirl: The Lost Children, written by Jeff Johns, with art by Todd Knock. And finally, the ongoing title, folks, is called Justice Society of America, written by Jeff Johns, art by Mikkel Janin. Yes. This is all we needed. That's it.
So take this one by one.
Yeah.
The New Golden Age, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Start it off, give everyone a primer.
Yep.
Get them in. I'll pick that up, no problem. No matter what that issue is, I will be picking up the ongoing Justice Society of America. Fuck yeah. Bring those characters. We've been waiting for so long. I'm still honestly a little disappointed that's Jeff Johns, not because he's a terrible writer, but because I was hoping for a new voice in the JSA. But I'll take it.
Hopefully he just does like the first story arc, pass it on to someone else, like Tomasi, and we'll go from there. But
and like this isn't me slamming Johns in any way. He's had a long, great run on JSA. I would love to just get a new voice on it.
Mm-hmm.
And but like I said, it's return of characters we've wanted for so long, and they've been teasing us for years now. They're gonna come. And now it's here.
Yeah, finally. The Stargirl book.
Okay. I'll get my feelings on Stargirl. I get it. That's Jeff Johns' baby. He's going to do a Stargirl book. I'm not picking it up.
I'm not.
I never cared for Stargirl. I understand some of the fans are going to be like, well, she's got a TV show, and that's what... No. It's the only reason there's a Stargirl book is because Jeff Johns is doing JSA, and he wanted a Stargirl book.
Yeah.
I respect him for that. Like, that's his... It's based on his sister that passed or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And all that. I just don't care about Stargirl.
Yeah, me either. But Justice Society, hell yeah, let's go.
But yeah, everything else, if the Justice Society book, as long as it's like the Justice Society that we deserve, that we want, the core based Justice Society.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Yep.
I'm so excited for that.
Me too. Oh man, I can't wait. When I saw that, I immediately was looking for pre-orders. Not out yet, but I'll be ready.
Probably so November. So yeah, you'll get them either tomorrow or next month. So I think tomorrow the new DC Connect comes out.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow being Monday for everybody listening.
Sorry. Yeah, we're back in time right now. We know who will be taking over Fantastic Four ongoing series. It'll not be Jonathan Hickman.
Boo.
New team will consist of writer Ryan North and artist Ivan Coelho. The first arc will feature Ben Grimm and his wife Alicia stuck in a Groundhog's Day-style time loop that the Fantastic Four must help him escape. I don't know who Ryan North is.
I do. He's not bad. He did the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl series, which is really good.
Okay.
But he did it as a comedy series almost.
Uh-huh.
It's not enough to get me to check out Fantastic Four, though. Like, I know you're more of a Fantastic Four fan.
Yeah, I'll probably check this one out. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's got to be like somebody I can't ignore for me to check out Fantastic Four. And I tried Dan Slott's even. Yeah. And I just couldn't get into it. So, and the story ideas he threw out don't really intrigue me either. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully you and all the other Fantastic Four fans love it. But probably a pass for me.
New creative team this fall for Iron Man as well. The new series will be written by Jerry Dugan and art by Juan Frigeri. The new story arc will be picking up after Iron Man 750, beginning with a new number 1, of course. It will feature Tony Stark losing his wealth and having to dig up classic armor in his battles against a mysterious new supervillain.
I mean, if his butler died, I'd say it was Batman.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, too bad he didn't have a butler to die, because that's literally where we've been with Batman for a while, people.
Yeah, I love Jerry Dugan. He does some good comics.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, for sure. Mm-hmm.
The problem here is my comic list is so long at this point.
Yeah, you don't have room for it.
Yeah, like I don't have room for JSA, and I'm gonna do it. But yeah, jump on an Iron Man book.
I'm picking up and dropping books left and right. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's
8 Billion Genies came out, something I wouldn't have expected. I'm like picking that up, and I dropped something else that I don't even remember because it wasn't tickling my fancy. I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there right now. We have so many crazy things happening with comics.
Yeah, I'm almost excited because like next month ends like a bunch of miniseries for me, and I'm like, it's so much I don't have to buy now.
It's such a nice feeling when you get the last issue. You're like, yes, fuck yes, I can stop reading this. Not to say that it's bad, because I've had that happen with really good books. It's just like a pet peeve to like have a number 5 and not the number 6 in your collection, and then it shows up, and you're like, okay, put that one done, not have to think about it. Star Wars comics at Marvel are entering a new time period next year, leaving the time between Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, moving past the Return of the Jedi. This new start will begin with a one-shot comic called Star Wars Revelations. Wait a second. Is that like He-Man Revelations? Masters of the Universe Revelations? Wasn't that the title? And written by Mark Guggenheim, with art by Salvador LaRocca. Ooh, nice. Paco Medina, all right, and more. The issue is said to look at the past, present, future of the Star Wars universe and set the path for what is to come. Interesting.
So I know I don't talk about Star Wars comics much on this show because I usually keep them for my own enjoyment. But I've loved what Marvel's doing with Star Wars. Pretty much everything's been good or great. I am so excited for this to happen, though, because in between movies is fun and you can dig into some cool things. But now, like, even though technically we're in between movies, like, there's literally a lifetime in between 6 and 7.
Right.
And there's so much to mine there that it's almost as if you don't really have an ending. I mean, yes, you have to get to the point where Kylo and the First Order come about, but like there's just so much there that could happen, and I'm so excited for that to be where we're going with Star Wars now. This is amazing news.
It's a lot more time than between Empire and Return of the Jedi, that's for sure.
Yeah, and
a lot more time.
Yeah, and there's so, like I said, there's so much to mine, and you can jump in and out with what's going on with the Mandalorian and figure out that whole thing and just follow Luke and his like how he got to the point where he's just like, fuck it, I give up. There's so many great threads we can go through, and especially for those first few years of it, we can really just do whatever they want. Right. And explore this universe. I'm so excited for this. I think this is going to be some of the best Star Wars comics we're going to get.
Nice. Boom Studios has announced new big creator-owned title, Once Upon a Time at the End of the World by Jason Aaron and 3 unique art teams. The series is set to be a love story about two people who meet right before an environmental disaster threatens to end the world. So Jason Aaron, probably going to be picking this up, right?
Yeah. All I hear is Jason Aaron, and I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, sounds environmental cool, crisis. I don't know. Not the coolest way to write a story, but
I'm interested to see how he uses the 3 unique art teams, because they make that a point in all the press releases, but they don't say who they are. And I'm wondering if that's going to be in story as they tell things, like maybe a past, present, future thing.
Yeah.
Or, something along those lines. So it'd be really interesting to see how he uses that. But Boom kind of grabbing some big names. I was shocked to see this one. Jason Aaron has been doing all of his stuff at Image, and to kind of jump over to Boom is huge. Like, that means something. So
yeah.
All
right. Well, let's talk about what we read this week. I got through about 6 issues here because I had so many. I feel like I had a lot of books to read, but Trve Kvlt, but spelled Trve Kvlt. This is the Scott Bryan Wilson, Leanna Kangas. This was the Kickstarter book that finally got published at IDW. Picked it up. We're huge fans of Leanna Kangas here because she's like one of the best artists right now. Her variant covers are always popping out at you. You got to pick them up. It's a cool story. This dude works at a burger joint. He robs a bunch of stores, ends up stealing a record that belongs to a cult of like Satan worshippers. And that's kind of where the first story wraps up. I thought it was a solid first issue, so I'm going to keep up with it. And the art is amazing, obviously. Shirtless Bear Fighter Part 2. Can I tell you where we start off in this book? So this is Jody Lehup, Nil Vandrel on the art. Shirtless Bear Fighter is now working with the Fuzz. Yes, the cops are called the Fuzz because everything is bear themed. The issue kicks off, dude. They're fighting giant gummy bears. The reason they're fighting giant gummy bears is because there's a mini gummy bear villain that's controlling the brain of a child in a factory, and the child is like being forced to make giant gummy bears. And Shirtless Bear Fighter is shrunken down like Magic School Bus style, like inside the kid's body, trying to fight his way to the brain. It's insane. Like, they literally just come out of the gates swinging with this book. And then Shirtless Bear Fighter has to take care of all the giant kaiju-sized gummy bears at the end of the fight, so he just eats them all and becomes like this big, fat, round person. So he's just walking around for a few pages, like, really wide and like fat because he ate all the gummy bear. It's just ridiculous. It's a crazy story. There's lots of bear puns, and then we get this guy who's like, oh my god, they call him like the chicken shaman or something. He lives in this hut and he's got like a KFC bucket for a head, and like is like supposed to be like this mystical guy. He finds these bears like pouring barbecue sauce into a pit and like summoning something, and he said that Ursa Major is coming. So Ursa Major is like a huge bear villain, I guess. So stay tuned for more. This shit is so wild. I love it. Hulk number 8. This is Donny Cates, and this is not Ryan Otley on the art. I can't remember who. Matrone Cocolo. Sorry. And
co-written by Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yeah, I was gonna say DWJ, co-written by him. So this is it's nothing crazy happening in the end. The fight is over. Like, the fight's between Hulk and Thor Hulk. Thor says that Hulk is dead and lets him leave and go figure out his own stuff, and he's traveling very far, far away somewhere. And I think it's just left open to see where that'll go. But
I liked it. It was a decent ending to it, but yeah, it sends Hulk up to like, all right, now you're left alone to your adventures moving forward, and then kind of reset where Thor is in this.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part to this, and we kind of like were texting about it back and forth, and I actually looked it up. This book is 3 months behind.
Okay.
We haven't had a Thor or a Hulk book in 3 months.
That's what I was wondering. And like, yeah, Donnie's been like not tweeting or anything, so
yeah, and like all of his books are like not coming out. Like we did get the crossover 3D special this week, but like
right.
Honestly, it's a reprint with like some new material in it. And I even went on like KLC Press's page and started looking, and it's all Stegman. Like Stegman's doing all the posts, he's doing all the videos. So I'm really like, I don't want to say worried, like he's not like my brother or friend or anything, but like I'm concerned, like where the hell is Donnie?
And I've seen people tweeting at him. Yeah, right. Hopefully he's okay.
But it kind of sucks because one of my favorite writers, if not my favorite writer currently working, is like kind of MIA. And even this like feels more like a Daniel Warren Johnson book than a Donnie Cates
that's
book.
kind of what it said. I read it and I was like, oh, they definitely just wanted to wrap things up. But yeah, I guess we'll see where he is. But yeah, it sucks that, especially for the fans, like at least if we knew, like we got an announcement, like even for Marvel, if Marvel was like, hey, some things going on, these books are going to be delayed, but like, yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah, like I don't have to know exactly what's going on. Like if he's going through something personally and he needs to deal with it, like you don't have to say that. Just be like, listen, these books are on hiatus for a few months. They'll be back.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. But maybe that brings too much attention to it. I don't know. But
yeah,
I think now it's at the point with this book, and maybe it's just me because I'm a snoop, but with everything I looked up, I'm like, it's pretty freaking obvious that something's going on with Donnie. So
yeah.
Hopefully he's good, but the book was
I only noticed because someone tweeted at him and was like, hey dude, where you been? And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I started looking into it. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 6. Mark Waid and Stuart Moore on the art. This is a really fun issue about Robin being trapped back in time, and he, jumps in with a circus, so he starts to like befriend all these people, and then Batman and Superman come to help, and obviously have to be part of the circus too. And they solve a crime while doing it. I thought it was just a fun issue. It felt like a World's Finest issue. Like the fun lightheartedness. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and it was a cool like one-shot story that kind of bridged the two arcs together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was fun. I liked the whole like Robin figuring out something in the past and like then using his skills and trying to figure out how to like tell the people.
Yeah.
I liked him being back in the circus. Like, yeah, there's a lot of cool things about this issue.
Mm-hmm. And then I had the new issue of Barbaric. I can't think of the title.
Axe to Grind.
Axe to Grind. Loved the first issue. They're fighting giant vampires, which was fucking awesome. I know Chris greatly enjoyed that. And he's like with a cohort now, right? He's got like a group of people that he's fighting with, which is cool. And then we find out
the witch from the first series.
Yep.
And then his friend from the past that he saves from the vampires.
Yeah, this barbarian with him, which is cool. And then we find out this orc king or something is coming. Like he's back, and now he wants to kill him. Pretty simple story. That's all it is, and I love it. I mean, I'm glad Barbaric is back.
And they fight a kraken.
Yeah, they fight a kraken. That was pretty sick. Forgot about that. Quest Aside number 4.
Got that one too.
Yeah, so it was an interesting issue. The owner of the Quest Aside decides to sell the bar to another like adventurer group. And as that happens, the bar gets attacked, right? Is that where it leaves off?
Kind of, but then at the last second he pulls out because he feels bad about it. Because he was going to give all the money to his staff and then kind of disappear into the night. But he felt bad that he was going to screw people over, and then like the king shows up with his army.
Yep.
And obviously he's going to take it away now. So good issue. Not as much like randomness to this issue as some past issues. Like in the past, we had some of these like little stories about people coming into the bar, and this seemed more about him and what he's going through with this supposed deal.
Yeah, getting more like the main story. I still really like this. Yeah,
good
series,
issue.
So. Yeah, that's all I had. That's all I got to this week. There's other stuff I got to read that I'll talk about when I'm all caught up. But
okay, Batman One Bad Day-Riddler number 1.
That's one of them.
So this was like, this ties Riddler directly to Killing Joke. And his role in Killing Joke is basically what the story gets to. This Riddler was a little bit more of we get his backstory. So like, we get that he was like, grew up a super genius and then was never allowed to have fun and play games, and was abused by his father, and then that's why he became the Riddler. We get how he's connected and how he's able to like basically manipulate people using his intelligence. It was okay. I enjoyed it. It's like a 64-page like mini OGN. Not a whole lot of Batman in this, but he does show up like at the end basically to tie up the story. And my only issue is how it ends, and you'll see when you read it. I don't believe that's how Batman would have let it go.
Okay.
But other than that, it was okay. Not the best start to this One Bad Day thing, but I'll still keep reading them just because I'm interested to see how, especially like they're doing Clayface. I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, right.
Seven Sons number 3. This one was about, so last issue, one of the sons was killed by this extremist faction, and in this one, there's another one of the sons is trying to follow the lead that his brother was leaving for him. That there's something going on. There's some sort of like conspiracy that was happening behind them, and he follows this lead, which runs him into this extremist group. It also sends him on this mission across the country, where he ends up on like a bus with a bunch of random people who are relocating, and all the people in the bus that are relocating are actually like former religious scholars, of like, one's like a Jewish scholar, one was a Buddhist, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And how the birth of the sons and this new religion taking over the country basically made their religions invalid, even though technically it's not illegal. Like, there isn't a national religion, but because the sons exist, everybody bought in, and now all the other religions are just obsolete.
Oh, okay.
So now they're like these scholars who now have to go and basically be like migrant farmers. So that was a cool little side thing to the universe of like what happened to everybody else. And then he ends up going and trying to find this thesis that somebody wrote before they were born that could disprove their entire religion.
Oh boy.
So it was very interesting. I really liked that book. DC versus Vampires All Out War number 2 was really good. It's following the same thread as the first issue. I know you read the first issue, right? So it literally takes place at the end of that and moves forward with it, where now they're kind of out in the open, and they end up going to find Talia, and all the vampires like take out Talia's little enclave that she has there. Mm-hmm. And whoever's left at the end is left in the open and has to keep going. And then I had Aquaman Flash Voidsong number 3. That was the end of that arc. It obviously wraps up the story. I like how, so we get the kind of conclusion how they defeat the Voidsong and all that. That's to be expected. But the real story here was like the newly found friendship between Arthur and Barry, and like how this experience brought them together and made them realize like that they're more alike than they think. And that was really a cool thread that they put there. And even like, you haven't got a chance to read it yet, so I don't want to spoil it. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone out there either, but there's a moment at the end that's just so funny, and it's like two old friends hanging out together, and then like something happens, and like an inside joke happens.
Okay.
It was actually really well done how he wrapped everything up. The two of them actually, was Kelly and Lanzig, wrapped everything up, and made me care about the friendship between those two. Okay. Daredevil number 2, aka number 650. This kind of concluded the first story, because it's like it's a Marvel, big issue thing, so they made it like a double, triple size issue. It's almost like it's 3 issues long, and it wraps up kind of how this character that showed up at the end of the first issue is basically an old friend of Matt Murdock's, and he's been Matt's kind of guardian angel, keeping him alive through like important moments throughout Daredevil's life. And we get into kind of the backstory of that and like how he's intervened throughout the different events. And what's cool about that is they use that moment to bring in other artists throughout Daredevil history and like show the moments in the art style of the moment.
That's cool.
So like when they do something from the Wade Samney era, they bring in Samney to like do the art. And it was a cool little conclusion to it, and it kind of ends in a way that moves on the story to Daredevil leaving New York as he was meant to in this arc, and saying goodbye basically to his past. I really liked that. And then there was a short story at the end that was kind of just a quick, 5-page quick Daredevil story. And what was cool about it is obviously Chip Zdarsky's writing the series, and he did the art for this little mini story. So, like in the same book, Chip wrote and drew Daredevil.
That's pretty cool.
It's a simple little story about a kid who basically is tangled up with the mob, and how Daredevil kind of steers him away from what he's doing. And that's basically it. And then they kind of tie it together with one of the classic mini Marvels that they used to do back in the day that I really enjoyed back in the early 2000s. It was nice to see that come back. So I'm really liking Daredevil. We're going to talk about that last. Talk about some Avengers stuff. So we got Avengers 1 million BC. This tells a quick story of how the Avengers like defeated one of the people from Jotunheim, and how they came to kind of destroy Earth and they saved it. And then it tells the birth of Thor and how Phoenix is involved in his birth. So he is born through the marriage of Odin's son, his wife, but dies upon birth, and the Phoenix gives him life back. And so that's what gives him a part of the Phoenix Force and makes kind of Phoenix's pseudo mother in it. It was a really cool story. There's obviously, I love the 1 million BC Avengers because we got Ghost Rider on a woolly mammoth and all these kind of cool. So it's really cool. Ties into the Avengers that's going on right now. Enjoyed that. Savage Avengers number 4. We find out in this issue that the Deathlock that is chasing Conan and the rest of the Savage Avengers is actually Miles Morales. That in an alternate timeline, Miles dies and becomes a Deathlock, which was kind of a cool little twist to what they were doing. And in the meantime, while we're getting that story in the present, the Savage Avengers are trying to save Conan because he's been trapped by this necromancer who's trying to bring the serpent god to life. And the Savage Avengers find a way to basically resurrect a bunch of dead barbarians to fight with them and save him, but they're too late. And
of course,
something bad happens at the end. Knights of the Fifth Dimension number 2. This issue was half telling the origins of the fictional comic characters, the psychedelic Knights of the Fifth Dimension, and half kind of continuing the murder mystery that's going on, where the comic that the creator who died was working on is slowly being penciled and inked by nobody, and continues to tell the stories of what's going on in the Fifth Dimension. and our lead character is trying to figure out why, and it leads to this moment where it looks like the fifth dimension is bleeding into our dimension, and he gets it by finding out that one of the people he's met in his life, actually a cop that was talking to him, is taken over by like the bad guys. I forget what they're called. And then my last one was I got the Frank Miller Presents Ashcan that has a preview of Frank Miller's Ronin Book 2 and then Ancient Enemies by Dan Didio. I'll say real quick, the Ronin story seems interesting. I want to check that out when it becomes its own series. I always love the first Ronin book. I always recommend it to people. The Ancient Alien stories was... For a Ashcan quick preview, it was long and convoluted.
Oh boy.
And I don't think I will be checking that one out. Although the art was really cool, and I did like the atmosphere because it was like a sci-fi story based on another planet.
Right.
But just everything going on, I got lost partway through, and it's a fucking Ashcan.
That's not supposed to happen.
No. So and then they tease some other books that like Frank's working on in there. Some looked interesting, some didn't. But it was kind of cool. It's a $1 Ashcan, so I figured I'd check it out.
Yeah.
So, Mike, that is everything I had for this week. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and/or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter and the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter, where we're about to circle 400 follows. So please go out there and help us reach that goal.
Oh, boy.
You can also follow the show at FortressComicNews.com and at our Patreon at patreon.com/FortressComics, where you can support the show there even further. And remember, everybody, if you have the time to give us the reviews on podcatcher of your choice, like, subscribe, share, comment down below, and subscribe. I always forget to say subscribe.
Subscribe on
the YouTube channel. Smash that like button.
Yes. Oh, God.
And as always, thank you so much for watching and listening this week, and we will see you all here. Well, I will see you here.
Chris will.